My Tamagotchi was a significant part of my childhood, and my love for the characters has never really changed. The appeal of the designs, from at least my perspective, is that they've always had to be simple enough to fit on a 16 by 16 grid. The limitation breeds creativity, and despite their small size 2 emote, Tamagotchi ooze personality. Recently I've been quite unwell and it's turned my brain to mush. I started up my old Tamagotchi version 4 to help me try and get to sleep and stay motivated. The minuscule responsibility really helped me get out of bed, since I have to make sure I was awake to feed my Tamagotchi, and then also myself. And the occasional beeps through the day would act as little pokes to keep going and not just wallow in my own sickness. Once it was fed and I played a game with it, I found it easier to start thinking straight again. Though, looking back at my childhood, I was never very good at it. I'd always get the Tamagotchi for the poorest care and didn't really get what most of the numbers meant. It was either that or continually feeding it ice cream because I thought it would make it grow up quicker, which doesn't really work. As I grew up a little more, I found myself fascinated going online and looking at all the different Tamagotchi that people owned around the world, and all the growth charts from all the Tamagotchi. It hooked my attention. If there was a Tamagotchi video on YouTube, I would have watched it. My Tamagotchi knowledge has been rattling around in my brain for years, and every so often this Tamagotchi itch comes back to the front of my mind and I have to re-research and relearn everything I used to know. Lots of the resources I used to learn from have come and gone over the years. And now I wonder if anybody's out there who's like me and is just hungry for any information, even if they've heard it 1,000 times before. I realise this is my time to give back, and starting with the very basics, I'll use my extensive knowledge I've collected over the years to create the definitive Tamagotchi version 4 Connect Care Guide. Chapter 0. What is a Tamagotchi? Here's a basic history. I'll set the scene. It's the mid-90s. Spice Girls are topping the charts, NASA's landed the Pathfinder on Mars, and I didn't exist yet. Anyway, it's 1996 to be exact, when the original Tamagotchi releases in Japan. It was a massive success. It was later dragged over to the rest of the world in 1997, where once again it found itself as a huge hit with kids. The name for the toy is derived from the word tamago, which means egg, and uochi, which means watch. It also bears similarity with Tomodachi, which means friends, though this could be entirely coincidental. The toy is a virtual pet where the owner cares for a virtual creature, who grows into different forms depending on the quality of its care. Many different versions were released in the 90s, some original and some movie tie-ins. Beginning in 2004, a second wave of Tamagotchi toys was released, the Tamagotchi Connect. These could, as the name did imply, connect to other Tamagotchis, and also offered more nuanced and complicated care. The Tamagotchi I will be looking at is the Connect version 4, the version I'm most familiar with. Chapter 1. The device and setup. The device looks like this. Here are the main features. The screen, on which are 10 icons. 3 buttons. And the infrared sensor. We'll come back to all of these in good time. Oh, and on the back, there's a reset button for resetting or restarting the Tamagotchi. And if you unscrew it, you'll need to put a battery in here. The V4 carries CR2032 batteries. Those are the round watch batteries. So, I've put one in, it made a beep, and now there's an egg. Neat. If you press the center button, you'll be able to set the time. To select a number, press the left button to scroll through until you find the correct one. Enter the day, then month, then the hours, then minutes. While you're using your Tamagotchi, you can press the center button while not selecting anything to view the time. After that, you get to set your birthday the same way. Day, then month. Then you'll get to set your username. This time, you scroll through the alphabet. Hopefully, your name isn't more than 5 letters long. Oh dear. Well, I suppose a nickname will have to do. And then, we're back to the egg. Waiting for it to hatch. At any moment, the burden of a child we must love and care for will be in our hands. Am I ready? I don't think I'm ready. What if I'm not cut out to be a father? It's too late to turn back now. Oh, it's hatched. Suppose I better give it a name. Chapter 2. The basics of care. Remember those 10 icons? Well, let's select the first. We do this by pushing the left button. This button lets us cycle between the icons, and pressing the center button lets us confirm. All menus work like this, using the left button to select, and the center button to confirm. The rightmost button cancels the selection. The first icon is the weighing scales, and will show us the stats of our Tamagotchi. I'll describe each page. If I skip over anything, don't worry. I'll come back to it when the information is important. The first page shows us our Tamagotchi's hunger and happiness. For good care, we've got to keep these full. The fuller they are, the better. The second page is our Tamagotchi's training level, which will come important when we talk about discipline. This shows how well you're raising your Tamagotchi. Good parenting is rewarded with a fuller training bar. Next up is our Tamagotchi's stats: intelligence, art, and social. These determine how your Tamagotchi will grow, and what jobs you can get when you're an adult. Next up is your Tamagotchi's age. 1 year is equal to 1 day. And weight. It'll gain weight every time it eats, and will lose weight every time it plays a game. Make sure not to get your Tamagotchi too fat, because this will limit its lifespan and health. This page also shows its name. Then comes a page stating whether it's a boy or a girl, and the generation of the Tamagotchi, which shows how many Tamagotchi you've had in its family tree before it. The sixth page shows how many Gotchi points, or money, you have. Playing games and working earns Gotchi points, which you can spend for items, food, and other stuff. And finally, is a page that simply shows us your username. Neat. Thinking back, those health and hunger meters didn't look so great, so it's time to feed. Selecting the second icon reveals the food menu, allowing you to feed your Tamagotchi. Meals fill up the hunger meter by 1 heart, and snacks fill up the happiness meter by 1 heart. Select the meal type, then select one of the food options to feed your Tamagotchi. You have 4 options by default, and you can never run out of these basic foods. You also have any additional food you've bought, but these can only be eaten once. Every time your Tamagotchi eats a meal, it will gain 1 pound, and every snack it eats, it'll gain 2 pounds. You can't fully rely on snacks to keep your Tamagotchi happy, or else it'll live an unhealthy life. But there's no need to be a purist. A good mix of snacks and games never hurt anyone. Icon number 3 is the toilet, which when your Tamagotchi relieves itself, you'll have to clean up using this icon. You can also catch your Tamagotchi before any accident happen, indicated by squiggly lines on either side of them. And by using the toilet icon, you can avoid the mess, and improve your Tamagotchi's training in the process. Next up is the activities icon, but it's quite extensive, so I feel I better come back to it in its own chapter. This is the very basics of care after all. For now, all you need to know is that playing games increases your Tamagotchi's happiness. Following this is the connect icon, which we'll once again be skipping over because it's quite extensive. I'll come back to it later. After that is the discipline button, which is used for training a Tamagotchi. It's also related to the 10th icon, which shows if your Tamagotchi needs attention. If your Tamagotchi is crying, give it some love and praise it, which will increase its training. Sometimes your Tamagotchi will cry out for attention when nothing's wrong, and its attention icon will light up, or simply refuse to do something like play or eat for no reason. Give it a timeout to teach it to behave, and that will increase its training. Number 7 is the medicine icon, which will be used for treating a sick Tamagotchi. When your Tamagotchi is ill, it'll have a small tooth or skull above its head, indicating the fact it probably needs some medicine. Using the medicine icon helps cure a sick Tamagotchi, but it might take a couple of uses to help it get better. Next up is mail, which gives us 3 options when opened. The fortune cookie, which tells the future. Not really. The more stars you get, the luckier you'll be. It shows money, love, and health. For example, 3 money stars indicates you'll receive more Gotchi points from playing games. 3 love hearts will increase the chances of gifts from the king. And 3 health stars indicates better immunity against illness. Next up is letters, which can come from a variety of sources, and we'll come back to later. Finally is a big exclamation mark. This is for important info, like getting a job or going to school. The 9th and last selectable icon is the newspaper, which represents a friends list. It comes important for viewing friends in your family tree. It doesn't serve any function for care, so I'll skip over it for now. The final symbol is the aforementioned attention icon, which lights up when your Tamagotchi is in need of attention or misbehaving and needs a timeout. Great, those are the icons, and now for some biology talk. As the Tamagotchi gets older, it will evolve into new forms. A Tamagotchi has 4 different distinct stages: baby, toddler, teen, and adult. Your Tamagotchi will only be a baby for an hour once it's hatched. It is very needy in this period. It will stay a toddler for a year, and then evolve into a teen for 2 more. Then finally, an adult. There are also 2 more stages we'll get to later, which are special Tamagotchi that either evolve from a specific adult when trained correctly, and seniors, which evolve from a Tamagotchi which has lived for a very long time. Congratulations, you now know the very basics of care for your Tamagotchi, but you don't quite know how to play with it yet. Well, we better move on to Chapter 3, Activities and Mail. The Activities menu is the largest, and contains 5 different options: Game, Item, Shop, Password, and Souvenir. The Game menu contains games, 5 of them at its fullest. When your Tamagotchi is a baby, it'll only be able to play one, that being jumping rope. When it's a toddler, it can now play Mimic. Finally, the menu is filled and the Tamagotchi is a teen, unlocking Shape, Dance, and Flag. Each game will help your Tamagotchi lose weight. But what are each of these games? 3.1. Games. Jump Rope. A simple timing game where you have to time a button press to jump over a rope. The rope will change speed the more jumps you get, so you've got to focus. The amount of times you successfully jump over the rope will give scaling prizes. Reaching 30 jumps will reward the player with a fanfare and a jackpot of gotchi points. This game also increases a random stat by a small amount. Mimic. You'll be pitted against an opponent on the right side of the screen. They'll stand in one of 4 poses, which you need to copy. Your Tamagotchi will then cycle through these poses at random, and when the matching pose appears, you must press the button to mimic the pose. This gets very difficult as the game gets faster in the later rounds. After the 8th round, you'll win the fanfare and jackpot, and otherwise you'll be monetarily rewarded based on your performance. This game will also increase a random stat by a small amount. It takes a very long time to complete and is my personal least favourite. Shape. The first game you'll unlock in your teens. This is the game to increase your intelligence stat. The game consists of 2 lanes and a central shape. By using the centre button, you can cycle through your chosen shape, and the side buttons to send that shape up the respective lane. Shapes fall down each lane and the player must send a matching shape up to collide with it before it reaches the bottom. Memorization of the order of the 6 shapes is key, so you know how many shapes to cycle through. After 30 points are scored, you win, and you're monetarily rewarded and rewarded in intelligence points based on your performance. Shape is very fun, but a challenge to master. Dance. Dance is the second of the team games, and this game increases your art stat. At the top of the screen are 3 buttons which correspond with your buttons. The buttons will light up and you must press the corresponding buttons. Sometimes you'll need to press multiple at once. As the game goes on, the cues for the inputs gets faster, and it's very tricky near the end. As always, you are rewarded in gotchi points and also gain art points. Flag. The final of the teen games, and the final game in the menu altogether. This game is to increase the social stat. You hold 2 flags, a black one on the left and a white one on the right. Flags will appear above your Tamagotchi, and you'll need to lift the correct coloured flag in response. In later rounds, flags will swap sides and mini flags will appear to distract you before the proper ones appear, so stay alert. As always, you are rewarded in gotchi points and also social points. And those are all the games. Now, where are you going to spend these points? 3.2. Shop and items. Avoiding looking at the price of each item individually, I'll talk you through the system of the shop, some key food and items to look out for, and some secret codes. Once selected, the shop will show a picture of the shop's entrance, and you can press the centre button to proceed. The shop contains a maximum of 4 items, and once one is bought, it'll simply leave an empty slot where it used to be. The shop changes at 7 o'clock and 3 o'clock, which restocks the shop and will replace old items with new, random items. Occasionally, the shop will have a sale, which is indicated with a big sign when opening the shop. Here are some important foods to look out for. To raise intelligence, eating steak or ice cream will increase it by 1 point, omelette will increase it by 2 points, and fish will increase it by 3. To raise art, eating cherries or cheesecake will increase it by 1, cupcakes will increase it by 2, and donuts will increase it by 3. To raise social, sandwiches and grapes will increase it by 1, corn will increase it by 2, and bananas will increase it by 3. Finally, watermelon raises all points by 1, and yogurt raises all points by 2. It's also important to mention each Tamagotchi has a favourite and least favourite food. I'll link a chart in the description. All Tamagotchis also love yogurt, big steak, chicken, and birthday cake. Not every item in the shop is a food though. Here are some items to keep an eye out for. A shovel, which can be used once to dig up more money or presents, with a small chance of a bad result. A plant pot, which can grow into similar rewards as a shovel, with a small chance of a bad result. A fishing rod, just referred to as rod, which can be used to go fishing multiple times. You can collect fish, gotchi points, and occasionally a really big fish. Just watch out for trash. A genie's lamp, where you can potentially get great gifts and great amounts of money, or a chance for it to smite you. Don't worry, it just makes your Tamagotchi unhappy. Finally, a chest, which acts much the same as the genie. There are lots of other items in the shop, which I could make an entire video covering, but most allow your Tamagotchi to play with them, such as a ball letting a Tamagotchi play a balancing game, or the wig which lets adults try on new hairdos. It's very rewarding to save up money and collect these.
Hey kid, over here. Don't tell anybody I told you this, but the shop contains secrets.
By pressing the left button 3 times quickly,
it'll allow you to input secret codes for items. I'll leave all of these in the description. The first time you enter a code, the item will be free, and after that they can be re-entered but cost money. It's important to note that the 5th code you enter will always give you the cell phone instead, and then if you re-enter the code, you'll have to pay for the item instead of getting it for free. So I recommend you enter the CD last, since it's always free of charge.
.3 Passcode and Souvenir. Passcode allows you to enter passcodes from the now defunct Tamatown, so sadly it isn't incredibly useful. But there are still 2 codes which work, and I'll put them in the description. Sadly, Souvenir is also defunct along with Tamatown. You can still open it, but there are no legitimate ways to fill it in anymore. Its function was to store items you had collected in Tamatown, but since its closure it doesn't serve much of a function. Maybe one day I'll make a whole video covering this topic, and potentially trying methods to get these items sans Tamatown. Hopefully at some point we can reignite the flame to discover the missing parts of this lost piece of media. 3.4 You've got mail. Now let's have a quick look at the mail icon. We've already discussed what the fortune cookie is. What about these other icons? The envelope is for traditional mail, and throughout the day you'll receive some. Sometimes you'll be sent love hearts, which make your Tamagotchi happy. Other times you'll get sent snakes and poop, which makes your Tamagotchi quite the opposite. The king occasionally drops by with gifts of items or money, which is always exciting. But on the contrary, a robber may show up and snag some of your well-earned Gotchi points. Sadly, you can't prevent this. It's all up to chance. The exclamation mark indicates very important mail, such as invites to starting school, or graduation from school. And when an adult, you can receive job offers. We don't know about growing up yet. Sounds like a segue into Chapter 4. Growing up. Growth is inevitable, and with good care and time, a Tamagotchi will evolve. We know when they evolve, but not how they evolve. Well, you know those stats from earlier? They're a key part. The first evolution is from baby to toddler, and the toddler determines which family a Tamagotchi can evolve into. There are 3 families: MAME, MEME, and Kuchi. Each one is representative of a stat. MAME for intelligence, MEME for art, and Kuchi for social. So great, I hear you say. Whatever stat is highest is the family I'll evolve into. Well, no. Working out which family you will evolve into involves 2 unfortunate things: luck and maths. 4.1. How do they grow? In the description is a link to a detailed evolution chart. If you want to follow along and look at all the Tamagotchi, that is available. But here's the summary. There are 4 types of toddler, each with a 25% chance to appear. They are, and pardon my pronunciation, Haruichi, Puchichi, Mitsutamachi, and Mohitamachi. Starting with Haruichi, it normally evolves into a MAME teen, but depending on family history, it can evolve into a MEME teen. So, if it's the first generation, it's guaranteed to evolve into the MAME family, but if it's had previous generations in the MEME family, it's more likely to go to that. Puchichi may evolve into the MAME or MEME groups. It seems to be a good 50-50 chance. I'm not sure if past generations will affect this as well. Mizutamachi will always evolve into the MEME family, from the first generation. It can also evolve into the Kuchi family based on past generations. Finally, Mohitamachi will evolve into either the Kuchi or the MEME group, and it seems to be a good 50-50 chance. I'm not sure if past generations do affect this, but they may well. This means a few things that surprised me. You're most likely to get into the MEME family a good 50% of the time, and you're least likely to get in the Kuchi family with a pitiful 12.5% chance. There are also universal teens you can get from neglect or low skill points. If your total skill points are below 60, or you neglected your Tamagotchi, or both, you'll get a universal teen. So yeah, that's teenagers for you. From teen to adult is a lot less complicated. Providing adequate care is given, the adult is determined by the highest skill stat. Are you clever? You'll get the intelligence adult. The adults, and teen for that matter, are dependent on whether or not your Tamagotchi is a boy or a girl, so keep that in mind. Poor care of a teenager results in a universal adult, which can come from either low stats or neglect. It's a shame these are considered the bad Tamagotchi. I love all the designs of the universal adults. 4.2. School and training specific stats. When your Tamagotchi turns into a toddler, it'll be invited to enroll in preschool, which can be accessed through the connection icon under the label Work. Going to school will play a nice scene, and then raise a random stat. As you grow into a teen, your Tamagotchi will graduate from preschool, and move upwards into big school. And now you have a choice of which teacher you want. Mrs. Turtlepedia will offer to teach you intelligence, Mrs. Flower will offer to teach you art, and Mr. Canvas will teach you social. So say I want to train to get a social type adult, I should choose Mr. Canvas as my teacher. Going to work from now on will result in a moving cups game, where a symbol will be shuffled between 3 boxes, and you have to pick the correct box. If you succeed, you'll gain skill points based on your teacher. 4.3. Work. Once your Tamagotchi is an adult, and has been for a full day, you will graduate and start receiving important letters about the job. Jobs are some of the most fun games in the Tamagotchi. When these letters arrive, you'll be faced with 5 job locations, for example, a carnival or a hospital. If you want to apply for these jobs, press the center button. And if you want to see more, press the leftmost button. To get a job, you need to have a high stat level in a specific stat. For example, you can't be a banker without high intelligence. There's no certain amount of skill points that will make sure you'll get the job, but you do need a high amount. I'd recommend about 60. They also require your Tamagotchi to be a healthy weight below 60 pounds. When you select to apply for a job, a panel of the King's servants will vote on whether you get the job. And if any of them vote no, you'll have to find somewhere else to work. If they vote yes, you are rewarded with an item that represents the job, and from then on you can go to work. As a reward for working, the stat the job requires will increase. I'm going to go through all 15 jobs rapid fire, stating the high stat they require. Intelligence jobs. Hospital. You control 3 bags at the bottom of the screen. Catch falling hearts while avoiding skulls. Bank. Same as a hospital, but you catch money and avoid mess. School. A game where you have a certain amount of time to collect as many of a certain item, which is specified. Laboratory. It will show you a picture of one of 3 items. Use the buttons at the bottom to select the corresponding items. TV studio. Use the buttons to match flying arrows on the screen, much like DDR. Art jobs. Rock stadium. Same as TV studio. Bakery. A timing game where you have to use a claw machine to pick up an indicated food. Florist. Same as the bakery, but with flowers instead of food. Hairdressers. Follow a sequence of button presses to wash someone's hair. Fashion designer. Same as school, but with clothes instead of school stuff. Social jobs. Restaurant. Same as laboratory, but with utensils instead of science stuff. Fire truck. A simple game where your Tamagotchi moves up and down and you must time water squirts to put out fire. Preschool. Keep track of how many board the bus and tally them up at the end. Travel guide. Press and hold the left and right buttons to avoid crashing into flowers, and press the middle button to accelerate. Theme park. Run left and right and jump with the middle button to catch escaping balloons. And those are all the jobs. There are 10 unique games in total, so switching jobs and having high stats all round to play more games is always more fun. They also come with the great advantage of a big payday. You get paid the first time you go to work every day. You get 1,000 Gotchi points even if you didn't play, but you can get up to 3,000 if you played a couple times in the previous day. If you don't go to work for 2 full days, you'll get fired and you'll have to get a new job. You can change jobs around every couple days, so if you're feeling a career change, or you're going through a midlife crisis, that's always an option. 4.4. Marriage. When you're ready to move up the family tree, you can get married to create a new generation. The matchmaker will come every day at 10:30 AM, 3 PM, and 7 PM to try and find your Tamagotchi a partner. Depending on the time of the day your Tamagotchi is born, the matchmaker will start to come at age 6 or 7. If you started your Tamagotchi early in the day, the matchmaker will most likely come at 6. If you started later in the day, she'll start to come at 7. The matchmaker will present you with a potential partner. You can then say either yes or no. Once a partner is chosen, you can have a baby and you'll get to name it. The parent will stay for the next day and care for the baby, and eventually will leave to return to Tamagotchi Planet. You'll then be left with a new baby, and congratulations, you're another generation on. You can use the newspaper icon to view your family history under the Family tab. 4.5. Special characters. If you don't feel you're ready for parenthood quite yet, you can always aim for a special character instead. The first set of special characters evolve from a specific adult. They are unlocked by having total stats above 450, and at least 350 in a specific stat. If you have Mimechi, the male MAME intelligence adult, and raise its intelligence to 350, it will evolve into Tensaichi. If you have Mimichi, the female meme art adult, and raise its art to 350, it will evolve into Makiko. If you have Kuchipachi, the male Kuchi social adult, and raise its social to 350, it will evolve into Non-Birichi. These adults are quite the achievement, so if you manage to raise one, good job! The next kind of special Tamagotchi are seniors. The Tamagotchi will evolve into a senior if it lives for 9 years or older. The matchmaker will no longer arrive, so if you don't have a device to connect with, you'll just have to see them out till the end. Unfortunately, they will lose their jobs, and instead be gifted with a walking cane. From then on, going to work will result in a scene where they go for a walk to their old workplace. Seniors can only marry through the Connect feature, and only with another senior. The resulting baby will always hatch into a special adult, bypassing the toddler and teen stages. Oyajichi is probably the hardest character to obtain, requiring 2 Tamagotchi who have lived long enough to become seniors. Chapter 5. Using connection features. Wow, this video is huge. We haven't even spoken about the feature that takes up half of the name of the device. Luckily, it won't take long. Connection is the 5th icon discussed earlier, and allows Tamagotchi to connect to other devices through an infrared sensor. The PC section gives you a code for Tamatown. You could have entered this code to log into Tamatown, earn points, presents and souvenirs, and then return home. Sadly, Tamatown is no longer available. The Jinsei option, which kinda translates to human life, lets you connect with other V4s. If both of you selected the same connection option, they will let the 2 devices connect and communicate. To make sure all the data is transmitted properly, make sure the infrared sensors are facing each other. The 3 options are Game, Present, and Visit. Game will have the 2 Tamagotchis play 1 of 4 games, and become closer friends. Present will have your Tamagotchi exchange a gift. To wrap a gift, go to Newspaper, and then the Present menu. From there you can choose food or item, and wrap it as a gift. It will be given the next time you connect using the Present option. Visit allows your Tamagotchi to meet up and bond, and if they're close enough friends and both are adults, they might get married and have children. To check how close friends you are with another Tamagotchi, go to the newspaper icon and select Friends. 1 face means acquaintances, 2 means buddies, 3 means friends, 4 means good friends, 2 hearts and 2 faces means best friends, and 4 hearts means a partner. You can have a total of 50 friends, and you can also delete friends in this menu to forget them. The other option is similar to Jinsei, but for connecting to non-V4 Tamagotchis. You don't get to pick which activity you do, but you can still connect. Dear God, how did you make it till the end? This has been far longer than it ever needed to be, but thank you for watching if you've stuck around until this point. I hope I haven't missed anything, and I hope I haven't gotten anything wrong, and if you have any questions, or if I have missed anything, please tell me. I'm completely happy to respond to everything. I've sort of sold my soul to the Tamagotchi now. If there's anything you'd like me to cover in future, leave a comment, I'll try and cover it if it's a device that I have or I can afford. Next up, I'm thinking of doing the original Tamagotchi, because it should hopefully be quite a bit shorter and it'll be a good bit of 90s nostalgia for all you kids out there. And if you want to stay informed for that, hit that subscribe the bell button and hit the like. All the music in this video was composed and arranged by myself, and it is available in the description for your use if you want to use it in the background of videos or for anything. Credit would be nice, but there's no point in me hoarding this music for myself, so go nuts, it's yours. Well, the social media's in the description. I don't have anything left to say. Goodbye.